Welcome back, everybody. Well, losing ourselves in a book is a pleasure that many of us enjoy, and one that we definitely want to pass on to our children. The Nocturnals is a critically acclaimed middle grade series that uses adventure and imagination to teach real-life lessons on topics like friendship, bullying, and self-acceptance. Author and filmmaker Tracey Hecht is here to tell us more. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first, just tell us a little bit about this series, The Nocturnals. We have Don, Bismarck, and Tobin.
We have
the three main characters.
We have three main characters. Don is a fox, Tobin is a pangolin, and Bismarck is a sugar glider.
What is a pangolin? I sort of recognize the
They're
look
actually
of it,
incredible.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They're almost like an armadillo. They're covered in scales, keratin scales, the same as your fingernails. They have really unusual features, which makes them so fun to write about because they're just wacky.
Right.
All nocturnal animals are actually really fun to write about.
I can imagine, yeah. Okay, and so there are underlying themes. This is what I love, that you use their adventures to focus on very prescient underlying themes.
Yeah, these are middle grade books, so they're really for 7 to 12-year-olds. And that's the age, especially now with the rise of technology and kids' access to technology, that kids are starting to deal with really adult themes, even though they're still young. So we use these characters, and it's very playful, it's very silly. I used to write for TV and film, so it's very visual. A lot of people say it's like family entertainment, like you'd be watching a movie with your kids, reading it. And I use that context to deal with some bigger issues that kids face today around bullying, maybe not feeling good about themselves, you know, challenges in their environments.
Bullying specifically, obviously, is something that is top of mind for many of us. How do you frame that issue in these books?
I mean, it's one of those things where I think one of the most empowering things about talking about bullying is understanding what makes someone bully. So when I start one of these books, I always focus right away on the villain. And I think about what will motivate this villain, be it, you know, a crocodile or whatever it is.
Right.
And what's going to be a compelling thing to drive a story, but also in the end, what's the brigade, Don, Tobin, and Bismarck, what will they have to do once they figure out what motivated that behavior? And I actually think just that storytelling, that narrative, really opens up a lot of dialogue with kids, middle graders, around what does it mean to be a bully, to be bullied, someone who bullies, what motivates them, and it sort of opens the door to a lot of dialogue that I think is important at this age, but is also really fun for children's narrative.
Yeah. So you're a mom. You have 4 kids? Okay, I have 2. I feel like most of us get to an age with our children where once they are able to read on their own, and they love reading on their own, we figure, well, I'm going to encourage this by just having them read on their own. But you think that we should continue reading to them well past those years where they already know how to do it themselves.
I do. I really believe in it, and it's a big thing. It's a big reason why I wrote this series, is that it reads aloud really well. And we have so much research on the importance of having early childhood exposure to reading and how valuable that is for kids. But what happens, just like you said, is when a kid starts to read on their own, it's so exciting and it's so emancipating for them that you almost feel as a parent you don't want to intrude.
Right.
But it's still a wonderful way to enjoy entertainment together, the way you'd watch TV with your kid or a movie, and you still have these great conversations. So you can have both. Your kid can read alone, you can read part of a book, and then they can take it and read a bit on their own. Same thing. I actually find it's a really fun way to have shared experience, and your kid, even though they say they might not want it, try it. Yeah. There's like, it's very compelling. I do it all the time, just like when I'm cooking or whatever, just start reading something. They kind of gather around.
Interesting. So you don't even have to try to do the hard sell.
You don't have to
just
set
start
a time,
reading out loud and they will gather around you. And you've actually done these reading aloud workshops.
Yes.
That's something where you can see people doing it in a public place and they can tune into that.
There's great supporting materials on these books from the publisher that you can see at nocturnalsworld.com or any of the social. And we do a lot in schools and in libraries. And we developed a program with the New York Public Library, which is a read aloud writing program, which sort of focuses on how we write these books, what we do. We talk a little bit about how we create these buildings, the context for the storytelling, all these wacky nocturnal animals and how we research them, and then we talk about read aloud with the programming in these school events. So the Read Aloud writing program's been really fun to take nationwide. We're doing it in King County.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know that this is a difficult question because every child is different, but what do you think is the key to getting and keeping a kid passionate about reading?
I think the most important thing is let them read what they want and don't police it. There's a lot of conversation around what's valuable reading, especially as your kid starts to age. But really, what you're trying to do is have your child love to read and build it into their patterning and their lifestyle. So whether it's a comic book, it doesn't matter, because they'll age out of that, or they won't. They'll go into graphic novels, which are amazing. Right. And so really let them read what they want. And then I really do believe that reading aloud starts to build sort of what I would say shared experience in your family. The way you'd go to a ball game or take a trip and travel becomes part of your life.
Yeah, I love that idea, and I'm going to play this interview for my children tonight so that they'll know I'm not weird when I suddenly start reading their books aloud. And we have added some resources and links for parents on creative ways to encourage reading and conversations with their kids on our website. So thank you so much for being here. It was great to meet you.
Thank you so much. I had such a nice time.
When we come back, a quick and easy way to look refreshed in minutes. I can use that today. We'll be right back.